December the 26th. I hope you're still surrounded by family and friends, or at least they're in touch. And we can sometimes reflect that during the past year, we may have met someone who has struck you as a very imposing, powerful personality, almost overwhelming, and made you feel perhaps inferior in some way, or even in fear. Yet, we're going to examine how God is more interested in a person's heart than his external personality and stature by talking about Eliab in 1 Samuel 16:17. We go back to the time when they were choosing a king for Israel, and Eliab was a brother of David, and he was tall, dark and handsome, an imposing figure. But his handsomeness and height so impressed Samuel that he concluded this must be God's choice for the kingship. But God tells Samuel not to look at outward appearances, as the Lord looks at the heart. Inevitably, David was selected. Sometime later, Eliab and two brothers of his were in Saul's army when the Philistine champion Goliath presented himself to challenge the men of Israel. Like the others in the Israelite camp, they were too afraid of this imposing giant. When David arrived and inquired about the reward for striking down Goliath, Eliab angrily lashed out against David, suggesting that he was a negligent shepherd, accusing him of being presumptuous and having a bad heart. Well, tall, dark and handsome are often what is looked for in selecting a marriage mate or a charismatic leader, perhaps. Rather, we choose individuals who are after God's own heart. Remember, it was on matters of the heart that Eliab was rejected, and later we see Eliab questioning the character and heart of David, the heart that God himself said was after his very own. That's in Acts 13:22. A man agreeable to God's heart was David. So don't let men or fear of men's judgments overwhelm us. This is the message from 1 Corinthians 4, 1-5, if I may read this section from the Contemporary English Bible. Think of us as servants of Christ who have been given the work of explaining God's mysterious ways, and since our first duty is to be faithful to the one we work for, it doesn't matter to me if I am judged by you or even by a court of law. In fact, I don't judge myself. I don't know of anything against me, but that doesn't prove that I'm right. The Lord is my judge. So don't judge anyone until the Lord returns. He will show what is hidden in the dark and what is in everyone's heart. Then God will be the one who praises each of us. So that gets to the matter of the heart rather than the physique or the personality so much. The story of David and Goliath we mentioned is often taught from the aspect of facing giant fears with God's help. And that's true enough in certain respects. But have you thought of the deeper meaning here? The Israelites needed someone to represent them as their substitute against this mighty foe, Goliath. So God raised up his champion, and the champion of champions is Christ, who has substituted for us in our Christian warfare. So we don't rely on ourself, or we shouldn't rely upon ourself, or charismatic Eliab leaders to save, but only on the greater David, our champion, our substitute, who goes before us, is behind us, above us, and in us. The question is Christ, or is an Eliab figure, your champion redeemer? Let it be Christ.